All right, today I want to talk about comments from P.K Subban, retired hockey player. Now he's a pretty popular analyst, despite following a lot of basketball and football. I actually don't know much about hockey, so I know he's out there, but I don't know a whole lot about him. He caught fire recently for making some comments. During the playoffs in the NHL. It's the Florida Panthers against the Toronto MapleLeags. I think they're down, I don't know what they're down, but basically the Maple Leafs had a pretty bad performance, I think 2 games in a row. And one of the other analysts was saying, they need to pack a lunch, meaning like, bring some energy. And PK Subban said, they need to pack a Lizzo-sized lunch. She said, I'm not impressed with what they've been doing, meaning they need to make a big change. The insinuation being Lizzo's big, the lunch needs to be big, metaphoric lunch in this case. But there was some of the blowback. People were saying that it was fatphobic, and I think that's pretty hypocritical. I don't think that's really fair. And we'll get into that, but first let's watch it together. I feel like everyone should get in the habit of trying to see things firsthand before making an opinion. It's a super quick clip. I'm just not a super good streamer, so there we go. Miracles of technology.
I was very impressed by their forecheck, their battle level. Big game for
Florida. Pack a lunch.
Listen, maybe they need to pack a Lizzo-sized lunch.
Big picnic basket.
Because, they weren't prepared, in my opinion.
Yeah, so you can kind of see there, it's a pretty innocuous statement. There's the definite insinuation that Lizzo is big. The reason why I think it's very hypocritical is Lizzo herself acknowledges she's big. Lizzo herself acknowledges she's fat. She talks about wanting to cater to all body types. So you can't both have Lizzo be proudly fat and have a statement referencing her as fat be offensive, right? She's saying that, she's owning that. There was nothing in that statement that equated fatness or largeness with negativity. It was just a size comparison. They need a big lunch, right? And so I think that we have to get away. There's a lot of hypocrisy right now in the kind of acceptance movements where it's kind of like a bit I think backhanded, where they're like, oh, we can celebrate these people, but at the same time it's offensive. It's almost like, if someone was disabled or handicapped, right, where it's like, oh, we want to celebrate them, but at the same time we still view this as inferior, right? I think that's kind of like the energy that's coming across, and I think that if you're going to take that position, you can, but I think it's very disingenuous to then accuse other people of being fat phobic just for referencing someone as fat. Again, Lizzo's Instagram is Lizzo be eating. It's not something she shies away from. It's not something I think she feels self-conscious about. And if it were something I were to say to cast in a light of negativity, right, I would understand that, but it's not. It's just a pure size comparison. So I think the criticisms are totally off mark. To be fair, it's not super widespread. I don't think Lizzo's commented on it. I don't think there's a ton of people. There's always going to be some reaction to everything. So I think a big thing we also have to do is start to gauge how widespread a reaction is. I think it's tempting to always be like, oh, people are saying this. What degree of people? The internet has given everyone a voice. It's pretty small. The reason I kind of take an issue with it is I've actually seen a lot of things similar that have accused people. They're both saying we need to have fat acceptance, and then also when you call someone fat, that's somehow derogatory. So which one is it going to be? I want to play another clip, 30 seconds from Bill Burr. I know people have mixed feelings on him, but I think this kind of encapsulates a lot of what I feel is kind of hypocritical about people's comments. Man, I swear I will get better. I will get better at this. You're seeing a very raw side of me. It's Saturday morning. I'm a little bit hungover, but fuck it. Is that the best I can get, really, for this thing? All right, we're just gonna have to play it.
Ladies, if you could just support the WNBA the way you support a fat chick that's proud of her body and is no longer a threat to you, that league would be doing better numbers than the NBA. Oh my God, that's one of the saddest things I've ever seen. Oh my God, you're a goddess. You're gorgeous. gorgeous. You look great in that bikini. I would kill myself if I looked like that. Keep eating, keep eating. You saw an alcoholic where you'd be like, oh my God, look at you. You're face down, passed out. Your kids are crying. You're a hero. You're a god. Keep doing what you're doing. Be like, dude, you need to get your fucking shit together. Get off the sauce.
Sorry, so I think there's a mix of stuff. There's obviously Bill Burr is one of the people that does.
I love women, but you know what I'm finding? I'm not compatible with.
He's one of the people that views, fatness as negative, as you saw in that clip. But I think what he points out is a very real critique, which is that a lot of people, I notice this particularly with women, will celebrate someone, but then also feel, I don't want that to be me. Right, it's kind of a disingenuous celebration, and I think that's particularly true of kind of the fat acceptance movement, where women constantly want to strive to be, thinner or whatever body type they want, but then if you are to be critical of someone, all of a sudden it's like, how could you say that? And so you're saying the same thing with the entire way you live your lifestyle. It's just a difference of how you verbalize it. So I think that's kind of what I want to say there. I think that as a more general note, body image is a very difficult thing, right? If you don't feel comfortable in your own skin, life is really difficult. And I don't want to make anyone's life more difficult than it has to be. I really hate a lack of compassion that I feel like is really the root of all evil, in my opinion, is the lack of first empathy, which is understanding what someone's going through, and then sympathy and compassion, which is caring about what someone's going through. And I think that a lot of the intentions of a lot of the kind of socially liberal movements that I have issues with begin with that kernel of trying to be more empathetic. And so I do want to recognize and appreciate that, because I really think it's something that's very positive. And while I'm someone that does believe in thick skin and the fact that we should be able to say what we want, and sometimes you have to deal with it, I don't at all oppose the idea that we would want to curb our language and general attitudes to be kinder. That's a phenomenal, tremendous initiative, right? I don't want to ever come across as if I don't think that we need to do that, because I think right now the response to a lot of the hyper-liberal movements is to outwardly show that you're willing to be mean. You're like, I'm not going to give into the woke mob. I'll say whatever I want. And it's like, okay, there's having an issue with hypocritical virtue signaling wokeism. I can appreciate that. And then there's just being an asshole, right? And I think that you don't have to do either, right? I think there's a very broad middle ground where you can say, hey, I want to respect who you are as a person, and I also want to try and be consistent with my own morals and logic. So, that's kind of a broader message there, because I know that there's a lot of different opinions and sensitivities, specifically around kind of fatness in modern society. So, that's kind of what I want to say there. Again, back to PK's comments, I think that we should really start to let people speak for themselves, right? I think that if this was something Lizzo was upset about, PK is a public figure, Lizzo's a public figure. They both have platforms to speak on that. But if Lizzo has no issue with this, and this is about Lizzo specifically, right? This is not about fat people. This is not making a statement about a general group of people. This is a statement about one person, a direct comparison. If Lizzo's not offended by that, and she's giving no indication that she's offended by that, why is anyone offended on her behalf, right? She is a very outspoken, very proud person. Let her speak for herself, right? I think that's another thing that I get really frustrated with the modern hyper offended culture, is that you're getting offended on behalf of people who may not even be offended, right? Give them their platform and support them if you want. I totally respect that, but speaking on their behalf is a little bit whack, I think. So Those are my thoughts. Let me know if you agree or disagree.